So as a child, I was born with one blind eye, and that left me in a place of learning disability. I had a hard time reading and understanding. And most people that know me don't always know about that, because I don't tell people. So as a child, I struggled through school, through just being thought of as not much. I was actually in a class of retarded people, and I was labeled as unteachable. And that does carry a lot of weight when you're only in first or second grade. I went from a Catholic school, actually, which was very strict and very regimented. And back then, they were very brutal to people like me. They would hit you, they would throw things at you, they would pull your hair, and they would have you believe that if you didn't perform perfectly, then God was out to get you. This was my first impression of God in a lot of ways. So I went from a Catholic school to a regular school at the age of 4th grade. And I had stayed back in 3rd grade once, and then my mother decided to take me out and put me in a public school. But by that time, I was so afraid. I had so much fear. I kind of just closed up and didn't participate. Still felt that, you know, I wasn't capable. I wasn't able to be like everyone else. So I kind of stayed within that mindset for most of my life until I reached high school. And I was 17 years old, and somebody in my neighborhood, or somebody that was walking through my neighborhood, stopped me as I was cutting the lawn and asked me if I wanted to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, I didn't know this person from anywhere. I had never seen him before. And I thought it was strange. I had never basically come across anybody with any kind of a message, but he actually spoke to me. And I don't know if it just left something in my heart that I later on thought about and kind of began to go along those lines where I wanted to find God. I wanted to know him. I wanted to see him in a different light than what I had seen growing up from a Catholic standpoint. And so I did. I bought myself a Bible, and I began to read it, and I began to absorb it. It was called the Good News Bible. It was a very easy read. Although I couldn't read, I read as much that I knew how to read, and the Lord kind of filled in the gaps. And from that point, I just gave my life to the Lord, gave my heart to him, and said, Lord, whatever you can do, please do it. And from that point on, life was different for once in my life. I began to feel different, and I looked at life a little different. And God did bless me with a husband at one point, and I thought I had everything. I had a house, I had a husband, I had all the comforts of the world, I had money, I had a job, which I never had in my whole life. And I took my Bible and I stuck it in my nightstand, and I said, okay, God, I got everything I want and need, so I'm putting you in my nightstand, and I can take it from here. And I didn't realize at the time what I had actually done, but I basically told God I didn't need him anymore. And I started to continue on in my life as I thought was the best way to go. And within 5 years, everything that I had actually gained, I began to lose. And life was going out of control, one step at a time. First it was a divorce. Second it was I lost my business. And I came to a point within a 10-year period of time where I had nothing. And everything was just taken away, or it was just destroyed by my own ignorance and my own anger. I had a lot of anger. I was at the point of rage at one point in my life. When that anger is beyond yourself, there's something inside of you that just snaps. And I actually snapped. I actually had a nervous breakdown. From then, my husband divorced me. He had every right to. I was not a wife. I was not even a mother. I wasn't fit for anything. I was a bad example. I drank a lot, and I just did things that were beyond myself. And it wasn't until I got to that point where there was nothing left for me to pick up, I just kind of put my hands up and said, okay, God, here it is. It's a mess. I can't fix it. I can't fix myself. I can't fix my kids. I can't fix anything that I've done myself to destroy. And I wasn't even in a church at that point. I was just anti-church at that point. And I just talked to him like I'm talking to you today. I just said, God, wherever you are, can you please help me? And he, in his mercy and his grace, started to lead me to these different TV ministries. And there was one that actually spoke to my heart, and I didn't have any hope but that. So there was a ministry in my town at that point that I had decided to go and check it out. And I had taken my sister-in-law at that time to go with me because I was, not the type of person to go anywhere on my own. So we had done that. And I actually went up to the altar at that church and had given my heart to the Lord in a way that I probably never would have done. And in his goodness and mercy, he just told me that if you lay down all that you try to do in your own strength, that I'll give you back that plus 100-fold of what you've lost. I will restore your life, and I will make the book writing that I've always wanted to do, because I was writing children's books at that time and hoping to print them and market them. And I just let go of it all. And I just went the hard road of going bankrupt. And my husband at that time wanted no part of me because I had no money. And I couldn't even hold a job. Basically, I worked 5 hours in a week, and that was a lot for me. So basically, I began that journey of being restored. And it wasn't an easy journey by any stretch. It was something that nobody could understand but myself at that time, of what the Lord wanted to truly do. I had no idea back then what this meant, to be restored and for God to take the ashes of my life and to make it something beautiful. I didn't know what that meant. I wasn't spiritual enough. I didn't know the scripture at that time. And I just agreed with him, and I said, I screwed up majorly, so let's do it your way this time. And he would just take me back to certain circumstances that were hurtful, and he would touch me, and within a moment of time he would heal those areas of wounds. And if that's the most important thing that I want to share with people, is that he is a God that wants to heal those wounds and heal those broken areas of our lives. Because sometimes we think, well, if I have a house, or if I have certain positions in life, that will do the job. And nothing in the exterior will heal a person. I mean, it might temporarily bring relief, but it doesn't do any inner healing. And it doesn't mean that you should be ashamed of that wound or those things that are taking place in our lives, because religion will make you think that, you know, you should be ashamed. You should hide those things. You know, we kind of live a facade where, you know, everything on the outside is good, but we don't want to go too deep on the inside and knowing or telling people really what we've experienced. But it was very painful for me. The divorce was very painful. Leaving my children were very painful. I hadn't seen my daughters on a regular basis after I moved to Florida. I was told that if I go to Florida, that I'll never be able to see or talk to my children again. And I went a good 4 or 5 years with very little communication with my children. And I cried every day and every hour and every night. I missed them it was just such a deep grief in my heart. And they didn't understand. They were just told what they were told. And I've had to forgive everybody of all those circumstances, but I had to go through a lot of pain in my heart, in my soul, through those years. So I can't say that the process is always joyful, but I can tell you that if you're willing to go through the process God's way, that He will make you strong in the areas of your brokenness. He will make those areas of your woundedness worthwhile. He will restore you, not just to who you are, but even to something better than that. Because He doesn't make junk. You know, we make junk out of things. We are the ones that do this destruction of our own souls sometimes. But He's forever merciful and gracious to us all. And He loves us beyond our exterior. He loves us, and He knows who we are even before we know who we are. So my journey has been well worth the grief and the pain. And God is showing me now that we can rise above all the circumstances in life, and we can be strong and we can be useful in His hands.